you are a self-proclaimed democratic socialist?
Socialist.
Socialist.
I don't use the term democratic socialist.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so I don't use the term democratic socialist for the same reason I don't say ATM machine or au jus sauce. It's redundant, right? So socialism is an umbrella term for any economic system where the people who do the work every day are the people who are making the decisions democratically amongst themselves, and have ownership over the place where they work in a one person, one vote basis. And so, by when people call themselves democratic socialists, it's like, oh no, I'm not that kind of socialist.
Well, that's one of the reasons I hate that whole thing, because I feel like, first of all, none of the people that are saying they're democratic socialists are. What they are social democrats. They're not socialists at all. They're capitalists. So when they say that, I think that we're just creating another generation of people that won't know what things are. We're not, and just falsely using labels. And it's just, I just think it's unproductive. But yet socialism means workers own the means of production. And when people would say Bernie's a socialist, I'm like, yeah, no, he's not.
Well, I mean, he has had a number of alternative ownership bills in the past, so he has done things to promote actual socialist ownership of enterprise. There's a reason that worker cooperatives have the highest density in Vermont of any state in the union, and it's because of the political influence of Bernie Sanders, right? So I think it's a little bit unfair to Bernie to say that he's a social democrat and not a socialist. Although his presidential campaigns didn't highlight that.
No, I mean, and he always talks about Scandinavia and this Sweden and Norway and those countries, and those are social democracies.
Right.
So when he promotes that, that's what I'm thinking is the system he's promoting.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about what his presidential campaigns highlighted, not definitionally being socialism. I think it's important to separate the two things out, right? Because you have the question of how much government should do, on the that's the scale of social democracy to laissez-faire, right? And then you have an entirely separate scale of who should own the businesses. Should it be billionaires and investors, and that's capitalism, or should it be the people who do the work for a living, and that's socialism, right? So they're two entirely separate categories, and it drives me nuts when people conflate the two, because you have people saying, oh, socialism is when the government owns everything, and that's just completely false.
Yeah, they don't understand at all what that means, and that's the problem. So we like to be educational, but what is the population, your demographic, like, and what is your campaign like? What are you really wanting to see for your state? Like, what are you working on?
Yeah, so Virginia has about 8.5 million people, and we have very high military density, very high veteran density. We're home to Norfolk Naval Base, we're home to the Pentagon, we're home to any number of facilities in between. But Virginia kind of economically, it kind of looks like America in miniature. And so, we've got, although we do have a high percentage of people that work for the federal government or for federal contractors, the private sector of Virginia's economy is very, we have a little bit of manufacturing, we have a whole lot of agriculture, we have, a whole lot of the service economy. And so, you've got the problems in Virginia that exist in the country as a whole. We're the most economically unequal state in the union. We have the wealthiest county in America, which is Loudoun County. And we also have some places down in Southwest Virginia where, the wealthiest person might have $40,000 to their name. Right. And so, in Virginia's history, there's been this sort of weird pattern where the politicians ascribe to what they call the Virginia way, which is this bipartisan, pro-corporate, very, very, very pro-corporate, nothing will ever change type political philosophy. And then throughout Virginia's history, you see, every 50 years or so, there's this massive spike of populist energy. With the readjuster movement after the Civil War, You had in the 1960s, there was a guy named Henry Howell, who was lieutenant governor for 2 years and ran for governor 3 times and got 49%. He was this close on a platform of civil rights and union rights and consumer advocacy, right? So, Virginia's political scene is one where, the system kind of stagnates for a while, and then you have the conditions for an outsider to come in and really shake things up. And I think that right now is one of those times for an outsider to come and shake things up. And I think I'm that person to do it. And so, I'm running for governor. I'm in a 5-way primary. I'm the only Democratic candidate who's never taken a dime from fossil fuel corporations. I'm the only Democratic candidate who's never taken a dime from big banks.
Do you have primaries?
We have open primary. And it looks like the Republicans are not going to have a primary at all. They're going to have a convention. So, it'll be open for anybody, regardless of party, to come in and vote. But I've never taken a dime from any for-profit corporation or industry interest group in my entire time in politics. I never have, and I never will. And that's why I'm able to come in and talk about the actual structure of our political system and the structure of our economy, and say that when we rebuild after COVID, we need to do it in a way that we own, that we operate. That way the next crisis doesn't come and topple the whole house of cards again.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.